Right, number 8, we have n squared minus 7n minus 30. So we'll go ahead and set that equal to 0. And identify our a, b, and our c. Our a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 7, and our c is equal to negative 30. And so what are we going to do now? We'll draw our x. Our a times c, 1 times negative 30, goes up here. And then our b, negative 7, goes down here. And so what are we trying to figure out? We're trying to figure out what two factors, f1 and f2, multiply to negative 30 and add up to negative 6. Okay, so what could it be? I'm sorry, negative 7. So I could see that 3 and 10 multiply to 30, and they will subtract to 7. Right? So let's go ahead and try that. We'll say 10 and 3. Now, our negative 30 is negative, which means one of these factors is going to be negative. So which one needs to be negative so that they add up to negative 7? Right? Well, obviously our 10 needs to be negative, right? Because negative 10 plus 3 is equal to negative 7. Okay. So I figured out what's my f1 and my f2. And so now we just go ahead and write down our answer. So it's n minus 10 times n plus 3 is equal to 0. Now if a times b is equal to 0, that means a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0. So we can go ahead and set them both equal to 0. So we'll add 10 to both sides. Now we'll get n is equal to 10. On the other side, we'll say n plus 3 is equal to 0. So here we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. We'll get n is equal to negative 3. So my answer is going to be n is equal to 10 or negative 3. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This one here is not in the right form, right? We need a squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So to get this in the right form, we first need to add 9w to both sides. And we're going to get w squared plus 9w plus 20 is equal to 0. Alright, now we're going to identify our a, b, and c. So our a is equal to 1, our b is equal to 9, and our c is equal to 20. We'll draw our x. A times c goes up at the top, so that is going to be 20. And our b, 9, goes at the bottom. So now we need to find two factors, f1 and f2, that multiply to 20, add up to 9. Alright, so what's that going to be? Let's see, would it be 3 and 6 add up to 9, but they don't multiply to 20. 5 and 4 add up to 9, and they do multiply to 20. Right? So let's do 5 and 4. And they're both going to be positive. Right? Positive 5 and positive 4 multiply to positive 20, and they add up to positive 9. So we figured out our f1 and our f2. So we can come over here and say w plus 5 parentheses w plus 4 is equal to 0. And of course, I didn't mention this before, but we could always distribute, use FOIL method or the times table method to check to see that we actually got this correct, right? And when we do that and we multiply this out, we should end up with the original polynomial. Okay, so anyhow, we're here, and so now we're going to solve for w. So we're going to say w plus 5 is equal to 0, and also w plus 4 is equal to 0. Okay. So minus 5 on both sides, and we'll say w is equal to minus 5. Over here, we're going to minus 4 on both sides, and we get w is equal to negative 4. So in this equation here, w can be equal to negative 5 or negative 4. W is equal to negative 5 or negative 4. And we're done. Okay, so we have one last one here. Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one before we end this video. So this one here, it's not in the right form, right? We need to add 7 to both sides to get it into the y squared minus 2y minus 1 is equal to 0. And then we are going to identify our a is equal to 1, our b is equal to negative 20, and our c is equal to negative 1. We'll draw our x. A times c is negative 1. Our b is negative 2. Now we need two factors that multiply to negative 1, add to negative 2. Right? So I'm going to put a 1 and a 1 here. Right? Negative 1 times negative 1 Oh no, that's not going to work, is it? Because this multiplies to positive 2, but they adds to negative 2. Yeah, that's not going to work. So what multiplies to negative 1, but adds to negative 2? Did I do this correctly? Yes, I did do it correctly. Okay, so what numbers multiply to negative 1 and add up to negative 2? Okay, so since it's multiplied to negative 1, that means factor 1 or factor 2 is going to be negative, and 1 is going to be positive. So what about plus 1 and negative 1? No, that's not going to work because that adds up to 0. What about plus 2 and positive 1? I'm sorry, 2 and 1 is going to multiply to negative 2.